And I think, when it comes to my dad, I think something that really hurts me is, let me say this, because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about suicide, and
Absolutely.
suicide does not care where you're from, what you
Mm-hmm.
look like, your social status, money, what you've achieved. That does not matter. Like I said before, we are people, we're human, and we have feelings. And sometimes, sometimes people just get to a point where they just can't take it anymore.
100%.
And I have to say, it would be selfish of me to say I want my dad back. I would want my dad back healed from the inside out.
Mm.
Whatever it was that was eating him up, that was depressing him or whatever, I would want to see him like that. And it's crazy because I didn't have an experience where, I would see him on medication or like inpatient, because that's actually what he did. He was a psych tech. He worked on the psych ward and he
Mm.
was with the Rangers division. He was a
Wow.
community driven person. Like I said, he was very helpful. So he always was smiling and laughing and happy. And so you would never even know whatever he
Mm.
was dealing with. And I say that to say the people that are out there that think, oh, they're so strong, they're fine. No, absolutely
They're
not.
not.
They're not.
They're not.
So feel me when I bring it, sing it loud. I'm from the loot and I'm proud. Run a mile for the cause. I'm right.
Guys, it's your girl Lama, your favorite Jew from the Lou. Welcome back to my podcast. And here we are again in a new location. I'm very excited to welcome Sierra Jenkins. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcomed me into your beautiful
You're right.
spa,
Thank you.
and it's out here in St. Peter's. And coming from U City, it was worth the drive. Honestly, should be so proud. Like,
Thank you.
it's such a beautiful location,
Thank you.
and I'm excited for already. We haven't even begun, but part two,
Yes.
because we're gonna touch briefly on your business, what a boss babe you are, and then we're gonna go more deeply into that in our part two episode.
Okay.
But for this episode, I really want to touch on something that speaks to both of our hearts, which
Hmm.
is loss of our father
Hmm.
and grief and how that lives with us and what that means for us. So, to get started, I did write it down because it's a little bit of a long
It's a long
name.
name.
Your salon is, or your spa is called Natural Health Solutions and Ageless Spa.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm very into names. So why don't we start from the beginning and talk about the name of this and
Hmm.
how it came to be?
So, Natural Health Solutions was originally founded by my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so she actually started the company first. When I became a licensed esthetician, that was, wow, 13 years ago.
Wow.
That's when Ageless Spa came about. And we just felt like, let's merge everything together. And it just felt right. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's the best. And honestly, like I knew even before you told me what you were that you were an esthetician because you have beautiful skin.
Thank you.
So it's like
Thank you.
goals.
I don't know. I always blush when people say that. Thank you.
Well, listen, it's earned, like having good health and having a good skincare routine is not,
Mhm.
something that most people are just blessed with. It takes work.
Listen, people, I've heard some crazy stuff that people, Dove body soap on their face. I've
Mm.
heard people tell me they use Crisco oil for moisturizer. So
Oh my
I've heard
God.
some pretty wild
You've
things.
heard it
I
all.
have.
And there's probably a lot of education that you've had to do as
Yeah.
well.
On,
Yeah.
and helping people understand like why we really shouldn't be using something like on our body, on our face, because our pH balance is completely different in different areas, and the pH in a product could, for like your legs is not the same for the face. It's just there's a whole
Mm.
science behind
Yeah.
why there are products that are just specifically formulated for our beautiful face.
And
Yeah.
that's why I think going to professional is so important because, especially as women, our health goes through seasons.
Hmm.
I mean, just within a year, right? There's
Yeah.
different seasons of the year. But then also, as we age, as we go through different life experiences, your skincare is going to change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's important to have someone who you're kind of like touching base with
Yes.
to have that experience.
Hmm.
So I'm curious to know, like, so your mom, tell me a little bit about her background and like how she got this spot first.
So my mom, she actually started off in nursing.
Oh, wow.
She specialized in geriatrics, and she was the top of her class. She actually still has her nursing license active, and she became an owner of a in-home healthcare and adult daycare business.
Oh,
So
wow.
I grew up around that. Like I grew up, seeing her very business minded, business oriented. She basically would buy homes and she would have elderly stay in the home. And we actually started off like in our house. So I think I was probably around like 10, and we had the business in our home
Mm.
many, many, many years ago. And eventually she would buy homes and then have the elderly in there, and the rest is history. But I think she realized that there's more to just medicine. And she said one day she was praying and God spoke to her, and she had never even heard the word naturopath. She's like, "What is that?" And she went on to become a board certified naturopathic doctor. She
Wow.
went on to get her PhD. She has been awarded several times just from like her knowledge and just her care for the community. And it's just really cool to see how people are truly healing from the inside out. I will say, just even like my own personal experience, like going the natural way, it does take a little bit of time,
Hmm.
but if you're patient with it, I mean, you can truly heal yourself and not just mask the problem. And so that's really what her specialty is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes, and this is from like an entrepreneur perspective, which we're really touching on a
Yeah.
lot, which is Alex Hormozy, who I love to watch, and he's
Hmm.
pretty ruthless with his advice. He says that like your dreams are not unrealistic, your
Hmm.
timeline is unrealistic.
Hmm.
And I think that can be applied to business. I think that could be applied to relationships. And I think
Yeah.
that could be applied to the beauty and the wellness space, right? Because whatever effects that you have, your body is speaking to you, and beauty comes from the inside out.
Yeah.
And so that takes a lot of like self awareness and then figuring out inside factors, but then also like externally, like what's the area that you're in? Like, how is that affecting everything in you?
Hmm.
So it's a conversation. Hence, professionals are really
Yeah.
important to help you
Yeah.
navigate that.
Yeah.
So you were exposed to such an entrepreneurial mom from such a young age.
Hmm.
And I think I also find it so powerful that she had the courage to follow her calling
Yeah.
and not just stay in what maybe was like considered safe and
Yeah.
esteemed, right? I'm sure that would, I mean, now everyone's into naturopath and like wellness, but that's
Hmm.
relatively new. Back in the day, that was almost too woo-woo.
Exactly. Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of people, I mean, I remember people would come in for like consultations, or they would be like in the waiting room. And this is back when we had, let's see, our location off of First Capital. So we actually had our business. It was in one location, but the offices were across the hall from each other. So I was just walking over to her suite. And I remember this one lady, she was actually like on the phone and she was talking to someone, and I can kind of overhear her talking down on, my mom and like her accolades and all that. And it really offended me. And I'm just like, no, like you can leave. I think I actually asked her to leave, if
Oh,
I'm
good
not
for
mistaken.
you.
But it just made me, realize that people that don't seem to understand something, it's just ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, as we can see now, it's becoming a lot more accepted. Natural medicine and holistic ways of healing and practices. But I will say, not everyone out there is going to have, like your best interest. There are people that I think try to use things to try to like get money, like take your money and stuff like that. So you really have to be what's the word? I mean, it's no,
Cognizant
yeah, like you have to just kind of be aware of like who you're going to. And it's no different if you were going to a medical doctor. You
for
have to
sure.
trust, at your instinct on, am I going to put my trust into this person with my care? And I think my mom's results speak, for itself, and she
Hmm.
has really helped a lot of people,
She
including
also
myself.
looks incredible.
She does.
I haven't met her in person, but the pictures that I've seen, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And she'll say, "Oh, she has a great esthetician," and that's me. So,
Yeah. No, I'm so curious though, because of all the careers you could have got into, what was it about becoming an esthetician that drew you?
so before I became an esthetician, I actually was in EMT school.
Wait, that's so cool. Oh my
Yes.
God. Wow, that is so different.
Very
Okay.
completely like night and day. Once I went through clinicals, like I had this whole idea in my head. I wanted to be an ER tech and do that whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. And I just realized that that's not for me. It's not so much the knowledge that I don't understand. I'm glad that I went through that because I carry that with me still to this day. And you never know when you need to like implement, those things that you've learned. But it was just too, like desensitizing for me to
Yeah.
see like death happening pretty much every
Oh,
time
wow.
you go to work. I mean, you're taking that risk, you're in the ER, or
Yeah.
just being around that environment. I'm like, that's
High stress.
yeah, and that's not me. Because when I get stressed out, sometimes it could take me a minute to already like come down from that. And I'm like, I don't want to
Mm.
be in an environment that's just it's literally stressful all the time. So when I was done with EMT school,
Oh,
um,
so you finished EMT school.
I finished it, but I didn't go on to take my boards or anything like that.
Okay.
But I remember my mom, I want to say my mom is the one that mentioned aesthetics. I didn't even know what that was. I mean, I knew that there were beauty professionals out there. I
Sure.
had started, getting facials and stuff and massages, but never knew like what their title was or like the proper etiquette into becoming an esthetician. So I went to school. I went to the Skin Institute first. I got accepted there. And crazy enough, I actually just met someone that works at the Skin Institute. And so we were connecting over the weekend. I'm like, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
But it was too far because I live in St. Charles and that's out like Ronnie's Plaza.
I don't
Where is
even
that?
know.
It's like a good 35 minutes away or so.
So it's a
And that
commute.
it's a commute. And so at that time I was like I'm just starting to drive and I don't really want to drive that far for school. And then I came across the Salon Professional Academy, and
Hmm.
that's actually where I went to school and graduated from. It's 750 hours of aesthetics. And I would not change it for the world. Here I am 13 years later.
That's impressive.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I just love everything about it. I mean, thinking back like on my childhood, I would sit and just like look in the mirror and just
Hmm.
like play in makeup, and I would make like these like avocado mask and egg mask and honey and stuff like that and just play in things. And I would almost like take my Barbies and make them like play with each other like,
So
oh,
cute.
hi, welcome to such and such. Like I had my own little salon name. I don't even remember what it was, but I always had this vision that I wanted to have an establishment that took care of people from the inside out. That was
Hmm.
health, wellness, beauty. And I remember my mom, I think it was when we were in Hawaii, she had said that to me. She's like, "Remember when you were little and you thought about wanting to have what we have today?" So it
Yeah.
is interesting how like
You
in my childhood,
manifested.
that's literally I was like manifesting it, and how certain things that I would do has shaped my future today.
I'm such a believer.
Yeah,
I'm such a believer in that.
me too.
I mean, even for me, like when I was little, my mom and I used to go to Barnes and Nobles all the time.
Hmm.
And she really wanted me to learn confidence. So she would
Mm.
make me go and order. And she wouldn't even go with me. She would just send me with the money. Maybe she just wanted to read her
Oh,
magazines. Maybe that
that's
was it.
cute.
And I would go, and the barista, Amber, I wish I knew her name. I wish I had her like full name and her
Hmm.
contact info because I would love to reconnect with her as an adult.
Hmm.
But she worked there for years, like from the time I was little till the time I was in eighth grade,
Mm.
until she left to start her own flower shop, and then we just lost touch. But I thought she was so magical and so cool. And all I wanted to do when I got older was be a barista.
I love that.
And like now I'm starting my own coffee shop.
That's
And
awesome.
it's just wild to see like the connection,
Hmm.
where it's like I never thought I would have a coffee shop. I mean, I thought of so many careers,
Yeah.
but like I never thought this would be where I'm at. And
Yeah.
like I think that's what's so awesome about both of us is
Hmm.
that we're dreamers, we're doers, we're manifestors.
Yeah.
And one thing, especially, I mean, honestly, everything you just told me alone is so impressive and so cool. And I like love that you just like went after your dreams. I want to dive into that more in part two
Okay.
because that alone needs its own episode. So
Hmm.
I'm glad we at least gave the audience a little intro into
Yeah.
like how you became where you are right now, but also like that love of being a woman, of beauty, of style
Hmm.
is also manifested in the fact that you're a model,
Yes.
which is so freaking cool. Like, I don't know, like maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because I'm a girly girl as well, but I'm like, God, every girl's dream is to be a model, you
Right.
know? But like, do we
Yeah.
have the confidence? Do we even know? And like, you hear so many scam stories out there
Yeah.
where it's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I was approached at the mall and then they wanted like X amount of $100,
Hmm.
whatever, and then it's like not real, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's local models for sure, but you're legit. I mean, you were in Miami Swim Week. That is
Yes.
huge.
Oh,
So,
thank
like, can
you.
we take a moment? I also want to say more of that for part two,
Okay.
but let's take a moment to kind of give the highlight reel of
Yes.
how you got into modeling and how you got into
Ooh.
modeling for something so prestigious when we're just from St. Louis,
I
Missouri. You know what
know.
I mean? Like, modeling in the Midwest is not the same.
No, it's not. Wow. Let me see. Let me go back to when I did it was the Miss Missouri USA pageant. I
Okay.
was
Are
was
you a
I
pageant girl?
I was a pageant
Oh
girl.
my
That was my first pageant though. I
gosh.
only did one.
Okay.
I was a one and done, but when I did it, the experience was incredible. I mean, I had never been on a stage like that or anything like that before. I mean, growing up, I've always been like in sports and I did ballet. I played basketball for a semester, gymnastics, volleyball.
Well-rounded.
So being in sports, it does give you a level of like confidence and like stage presence.
Hmm.
But being on that stage when I did the pageant, I mean, it was just like, ta-da! It was incredible. So after that,
Yeah.
I started doing just shoots around the city. I would just, hey, you're a photographer, I'm modeling, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I'm like looking back at some of those pictures, I'm like, what in the world?
Oh,
Where was
wow.
I? And so just as time went on, it just has completely exploded. I
Hmm.
did my first Miami Swim Week in 2023. I was completely thrown into it. Shout out to Claire, who owns Coralie Swimwear. She actually is the one that like really got my foot in the door because if it had not been for her back in 2023, I would not have done Miami Swim Week. So the year prior, I went to Miami in hopes of being able to get in front of all these different brands and whatnot. I'll try to make the long story short.
Yeah.
But when I got there, because it was soon after COVID, they're like, no, we're not doing any in person, auditions and try again
Oh.
later. And you're too short. You're 5'5". Nope, we're not. So I just kept being repeatedly told no. And so I felt crushed. And I also remember trying to secure auditions online. So when you're trying to get an audition online with a production company, spots go like that. And I mean, you have to literally be watching it in order to secure a spot. I mean, there's thousands of girls trying to get a spot, and there's probably only 50 spots, and
Wow.
there's thousands, right? So, I remember just feeling like super defeated and I was crying and I told my mom like I was trying so hard and I got the spot, but then when I refreshed the page, the spot was gone. I had literally secured an audition online for a production.
Oh my gosh.
And when I went back, there were so many people, it literally had crashed. But I realized that it wasn't my time. And so then
Mm.
fast forward to 2023, because that happened in 2022. So then fast forward to 2023, um, I still felt very much defeated because keep in mind, my dad passed at the end of 2022.
Okay.
So I remember I had met Claire when I was on set doing a shoot. It was a boudoir. I was on set doing a shoot with her, and Claire happened to be there, and so I connected with Claire, and then I remember getting a message from Claire saying, "Hey, would you like to come and basically shoot for our spring catalog for 2023?"
Mm.
While I did that shoot, I felt I wasn't at my best. I was not feeling confident, and I thought about just giving up everything. My business, modeling, I just had no hope. I had just lost my dad like a few months prior.
Mm.
And I remember us, we were talking about Miami Swim Week, and she was saying how she was going to be doing it. She didn't really know if she could bring me in on her runway list or not. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on myself. And I think that's when I really realized that, you know, I have been manifesting for so many years, but that is something like I truly just saw come to life. And I remember being in Miami. Her and I did a shoot. It was a Saturday morning. And I left, and she's like, okay, I'll keep you posted and I'll let you know if I can, pull you in. I got a text from her, and I still have it just a few hours after we did our shoot. She's like, basically, can you be at Fontainebleau by like 4 p.m.? I'm
Mm.
putting you in my runway lineup.
Oh my gosh.
I was
The
like,
emotions. It's
yes.
like so much.
It was so overwhelming, and I'm like, "Oh my
It's like
gosh."
your dreams are coming
It was really
true.
coming true, and it was just so cool, like, looking back at the footage, like, to see myself walking down the runway, and
Mm.
the LED screens that they had are massive. So, the video that she had playing as I was walking down and all the models, were basically of me, and there were some other models, and we were just doing some like video modeling or whatever.
Like
And
B-roll.
so, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
b-roll. And so to see myself playing back walking down the runway,
The confidence.
me up on the big screen, I was like, whoa. Got my first Getty image.
Let's go.
Because every model wants to, I mean, Getty
Yeah.
is like, once you got your Getty, it's like you can't really tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm
Truly.
like not even trying to
It's
sound
like that
cocky.
golden ticket from like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you
Yes.
know?
And like once I got that, I just felt on top of the moon, on top of the world. And that really just like, I don't know, that was like my starter. And I will forever, 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 forever be thankful to Claire for giving me that opportunity because she really did. And if it
Yeah.
honestly, like I said, if it wasn't for her, I would not have walked at Fontainebleau and been a part of that. And then 2024, I did Miami. But I will say, I thought in 2024, I thought that that year was going to be like last year, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yep.
But I realized I wasn't ready for that yet.
Okay.
So, and I had to understand that I think things happen for us in life when, we are truly in line. We
Yeah.
have to really be in alignment and in tune, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really on God's timing.
You have to
And
be the vessel that can receive the blessings that you pray
yes,
for.
and I wasn't ready. I was so up and down. Like grief is not a linear.
It's a wave.
It really is a
And it
wave,
hits you randomly.
and it hits you randomly. And 2024 was just not a good year. I felt very numb. I was coming out of a relationship. And so I was really dealing with grief by myself because I
Mm.
always kind of had someone to like lean up against or to lean on. And I didn't have that. So now I'm feeling it like really raw. I don't have someone to call,
Mm.
when I'm crying at night. I don't have someone to go run to when I need something. And 2024 just was not the best year for me. So I realized all the things that happened last year. Miami Swim Week, walking for a very beautiful and prestigious production, Miami Swim Week, the shows. Everyone wants to walk for them. And
Yeah.
I'm so thankful to Danae, who also gave me the opportunity. She is a COO, so she basically handles all of like, if you're going to be on that stage, you got to get through her.
Yeah.
And the opportunity that she gave me and just what came from that being featured in Forbes,
A dream.
incredible.
A
So it's like I
dream.
did that. I did Vegas Swim Week with House of Paradise, which is also a really fun, cool, upbeat production. I did the Hawaii Swim Show. I
Mhm.
did
And you took your mom with you?
and I took my mom, and that was her first
Yeah.
time ever seeing me like walk in person. So that, and plus my mom did her dissertation in Hawaii.
No way.
So it was really
Yeah.
cool. It's like a full circle moment.
Totally.
And then finishing the year with New York Fashion Week.
Insane. Who
So
are you?
I'm like,
Who
what? I'm
are
like,
you?
what
What is
is
going
life? I
on?
know. It's like, what is life right now? So like,
Yeah.
I'm
But
just,
it's just so amazing because looking from an outside perspective, and hearing just a little taste of the disappointment that you had and the initial, I think whatever you go into, whether it's
yeah,
modeling, whether it is entrepreneurship, whether it is going into the digital world and trying to be like motivational or to be an influencer, there is something called cringe, and that is the price of entry for anything. You
yeah,
are not going to be just a prodigy.
yeah,
Even if you are a prodigy, if you have 10 years of experience, you're going to look back at your first one and think, oh, I sucked. What was I thinking? Like, oh, I mean, like, it was good, I guess, for what you knew,
mhm,
but like the character development, the skill set development, and also like all those setbacks, all those disappointments, all the heartbreaks on a professional level, but then also on a personal level, I think made those good moments so much more special
yeah,
and hit so much deeper.
it did. So I remember, I was with a really, really good friend of mine, and we were at Cooper's Hawk,
Hmm.
and one of my model girlfriends, she texted me. Her name is Carrie. So if you're watching, hey Carrie, she's awesome too. But I remember Carrie texted me. She was like, in all caps, "Girl, you made Forbes." And I remember me and my dear friend that I was with at Cooper's Hawk. I mean, we were like, and it
Literally.
just, because I think what also made it so special was, I think that I've learned to stop um stop chasing, or how can I word it? It's like, stop chasing what I know I deserve, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
okay.
Like, I think I just got to the point where I'm like, I know I deserve it. I just don't know when it's coming.
Hmm.
So when I saw that, because, after you do shows, you never know like when you might get a publication or if your picture ends up somewhere. So it's like we find ourselves, well, at least I do sometimes, I would find myself like typing in Sierra Jenkins Miami Swim Week to see if my photo or name has popped up in any type of article
Yeah.
or something. So it was just really cool to be just going about my day as normal, and this information, this excitement was like brought to me. And that's kind of
Hmm.
what I mean by like, I've tried to just stop chasing what I know I deserve, and just naturally let it like come to you,
Yeah.
naturally let it flow to you, because you've put in the work and you've
Hmm.
done all the things and you're doing a good job. So if my grandfather were here, my mom's dad, he would say, "Why not you?" And he would tell my mom that. And so I would start to like implement that, like, why not me? Or
Yeah.
remember things that, like, my dad would tell me. I mean, he taught me to be a very hard worker, and he also instilled in me like not to give up. And I remember, and I'll just kind of end with this, but I remember being, I think it was my first day. No, I'm sorry. It was my second day when I was in Miami for Miami Swim Week. So basically, what happens is it's like you get pre selected.
Mm.
Okay, but you have to walk the stage every morning. The stage is long.
Oh,
So you walk the
wow.
stage every morning. So let's say there's a show on Saturday. You walk the stage Friday to see who you're going to walk for on Saturday. But
Yeah.
there's a possibility you may not walk. I didn't walk. I didn't get selected.
Mm.
And I remember again, Carrie. she came up to me and she could see that I was disappointed because you're in this room in a bikini, okay, with all these other models and the designers are all around. You cannot talk to them. You know, you can't go up to them and be like, "Oh, I like that." You will get kicked out. You can't do
Mm.
that. I started to feel like I'm not good enough.
Wow.
I'm not getting selected. I'm being overlooked. And I wanted to just I wanted to give up. And I remember Carrie, she was like, "Girl, if your daddy was here, he'd be like, baby girl, it's okay. Your time is coming.
Absolutely.
And don't give up now. It's going
Yeah.
to be okay." And I will forever, forever, forever keep that here. But yeah, I just wanted to end with that and just say that anything that, anyone does, you have to stick with it. And you just have to believe and you have to bet on yourself. And I will never not bet on me because I
Mm-hmm.
know that it's going to work out,
Yes.
whatever it is. It's just gonna happen. I
Oh,
will be so
100%.
delusional. I remember I told my brother last year, he's like, "Hey sis," he's like, "All these things are happening. Like, how?" I said, "Listen, I'm probably the most delusional person out there
Amen.
because I would rather be delusional
Mm-hmm.
and just like it not happen than to wonder, well, what if?" You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I love that thought process. This line just popped into my head and it's related to like what your dad said. Your dad said, "Why not you?" So like the line could be instead of saying what if, say why not?
why not?
Why not? Why not me? Why not this? Why not now?
You
Like
deserve
that's
it.
so powerful. You do deserve it. That's my mission statement for Lake
Yeah,
Cafe, by the
you
way.
deserve it.
You deserve it.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's so like Lake Cafe is a premium coffee. Just a little shout out for my coffee
Yes.
brand.
Life is fast, but every now and then you deserve a pause, a moment that's just for you. At Lake Cafe, we believe that each cup of coffee should taste like a little bit of luxury. Handcrafted and locally roasted here in St. Louis, each of our single origin beans are carefully selected to give you the most unique and smoothest experience. Whether you like a light, medium, or dark roast, we got you. For those busy mornings or for my coffee lovers who prefer efficiency, we also have K-Cups. So go ahead and pour yourself a cup that tastes like self-care. Visit www.lakecafe.us to bring the cafe experience home. Lake Cafe, you deserve it.
And so initially we were like thinking about what we wanted our mission to be, and we thought it would be like for those who enjoy the finer things of life. And then I realized that's not something that I wanted to put out there because it sounded to me a little snooty.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not snooty. I love luxury and I love nice things
Yeah.
and I love premium, but I don't like being in a space where it's like only the elite of the elite deserve this.
Yeah.
I think that luxury is something that everyone deserves,
Absolutely.
from the CEO of a company to the stay-at-home mom who's busy with 5 kids in carpool. Everyone deserves that moment for themselves where they just are like, so
Mm-hmm.
that's where the whole mission came from.
Love that.
But I think what's so powerful about back to you, your story, is that like here you are in such a prestigious environment, right? It's Miami Swim Week. You are a model. You have been chosen. You are past the audition. You're there and you're still dealing with insecurity. And that is so powerful because I think so many of us think that, oh, when I get to this stage, I won't be insecure anymore and
Mm-mm.
I'll be confident. And I think that's what I really love about these conversations is in the end of the day, we are all human
Mm-hmm.
and we all have fears and we all have anxious thoughts. And it's just more about what can you do to self-regulate yourself in that moment? Because my dad would always say, if you feel afraid or anxious, that means that you care,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Absolutely.
And like I heard something on TikTok recently where this girl was like saying how if we could reframe, because you can always reframe a situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't necessarily get rid of all the jitters that you're feeling,
Yeah.
but if you could reframe it instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm anxious, like I have so much butterflies, whatever, imagine that it's tiny little applause. because you're about to
Oh.
do something impactful. So your stomach is like,
I
yay.
love that too. I like what you said, and I also think another way to just try to like reassure yourself is being in the modeling world. If I go back to that really quick, I don't I've never been the type to like compare myself. I don't compare myself, and I think that's not necessarily like where my insecurity comes from. It's sometimes just having to remind myself, like, you made it here, and we're all here for a reason, no matter our shape, our size, height, complexion, whatever. It's like we're all here because we add value and we're bringing something to this runway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like how I had to bring myself down, like from that anxiety. Like, I earned it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
absolutely.
So as you guys can see, like Sierra's amazing. It's been such a journey. It's so funny. I didn't touch on how we met, and I
Oh,
usually do that with my
yeah.
guests. So we met because I started with my coffee going to Babes in Business,
Mhm.
which is a entrepreneur networking group for women here in St. Louis. And I met this amazing woman, Cece. Shout out
Yes.
to
Shout out to
you.
Cece.
She's been on my podcast as well. And she is just an Aries like me. She's a powerhouse. She loves powerful women from all over, and she just thinks everyone's amazing, you
Yeah,
know? And like as she wins in life, she wants to take others with her, which
absolutely.
is such an incredible quality. So with Cece, she had this vision for her fashion brand
Mhm.
that she Shopsy Ham, which she wanted to have a bunch of brand ambassadors. So whenever she was selling her clothes, she wanted us to be there to kind of like give some pep and cheer to the
Mhm.
women, make them feel good about themselves. But then even for our group, she wanted us to bond and network. And
Yeah,
so, God, I can't even remember the date, but I just remember
remember.
that you and I met at some point last year. And I want to
Mhm.
say it was winter time. So it's probably been almost a year since we've
Yeah.
met.
Mhm.
And we met at the selfie room. Shout out to you,
Oh,
Heather.
yes.
Heather has been on as well.
I love Heather.
And it's such, I love the selfie room. Shout out to the selfie room. It is such an
It's
incredible
cool.
space, especially model over here. It's such a great space to like really find yourself.
Yeah.
And just touching briefly, I used to be so afraid of being in front of the camera, let alone a podcast, let alone taking pictures. Like the selfie room and meeting Heather has like we talk about it in that podcast. You'll just have to go check it out.
Mhm.
But Heather and the Selfie Room gave me the confidence to want to document my life and put myself out there. So big shout out to that. But we met because we were both brand ambassadors for
Mhm.
CC. And it's it really wasn't too long after that because we all connected on Instagram that night
Mhm.
that you had reached out to me and you said I would love to do a podcast. I think it was probably shortly after maybe you had got into Miami Swim Week.
Mhm.
And that was when you were like, and I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great. And then it was just something about this journey of mine.
Yeah.
I'm a God girl. It's who I am. And I'm just a big believer in timing, like you
Yeah.
said. And I've been doing this for over 2 years at this point. I've had many guests. Some of them, I meet them next day shooting a
Yeah.
podcast episode. Sometimes it takes over a year. And
Yeah.
that's what it took
That's
for
what
us.
happened with us.
Because, like,
Yeah.
it was a scheduling thing. I mean, first of all, jet setter over here, right? Like, here you are, just like modeling and taking on the whole world. Not to mention, you have a business, you're total boss, babe, and dealing with grief, and dealing with relationships, and dealing with your social life. You're busy.
Yes.
And that's not even including my schedule. So
Right.
then finding time for us
Yeah.
together was challenging. We finally got together, had our pregame at Barnes and Nobles. I was so excited. And it's funny, I'm trying to remember what our initial podcast episode was going to be.
I think you know what? It was
Yeah,
going to be on basically because I think that was before I went to Miami.
it might have been.
Yes, it was. And we were going to talk about just Miami. I didn't know all the other things were happening though,
Mm,
because I didn't even know about Hawaii yet.
right.
So
And Forbes hadn't happened yet.
that
New
hadn't
York
happened.
Fashion Week.
None of that had
And my
happened.
dad was still alive at that point, very sick. And so the other thing is I was gonna come in and I think we were gonna do it like meet in spa session
Yeah,
almost, like in our
yeah.
bathrobes, like talking
Mhm.
about it. It was meant to be that we connected in that way,
Yeah.
but it wasn't meant to be to record at that point because we had the date to record. My dad ended up in the hospital, so I had to cancel on you. And then life just threw up on me with my dad. And unfortunately, he passed just this past November 10th. And that rocked my world. I'm just short of 2 months of not having him in my life. And I know you're going on 3 years. And that's what I really want to get into for the second part of the episode because we are not done with this first part of the conversation. I just wanted people to get a taste of you, how awesome you are, what a boss babe you are. I knew you, but like learning more about you, I'm like, girl, I need to know more. I need to spend more time with you.
Yeah.
Like, I just
I will
barely brushed the
I
surface.
will say there's people that like you just meet and you click, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's how we are. So I'm
Yeah.
like super, super, super thankful and just
I
happy to
know.
know you every time I see you, even though it's only been a few times, but it's just like just light. And I think
Thanks.
that's so beautiful. I think you're such a beautiful person, and
Thanks.
I am
I'm
so
gonna cry.
sorry. I'm like, I hate that something that we say in my grief group is that we're now a part of a club that we didn't want to join.
The Dead Dad Club.
So I'm so sorry that that you have lost your dad because it's scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah. It's scary not having your rock,
Your protector.
your protector.
And that's a blessing that we also both have, which is just that, like, we are both daddy's girls.
Yes.
And that's not something everyone gets. And I
No,
don't take that for granted. Um, but like, I'm so glad to know you.
me too.
And I'm so glad that you had that relationship with your father too, because that lends a deeper bond as
Yeah.
well. They say the Dead Dad Club, like, you can know someone has lost a parent, but until you experience it, you don't understand like the depth of like
Mhm.
what that means. And I still will never completely understand your story, and you'll never completely understand mine because each of ours is our own unique story.
Yeah.
But that kind of like rawness and loss is something that I'm still learning every day. I'm a type A, recovering type A, but I'm really a type A. And I'm trying to like be like, oh, I know grief. I know grief. And then grief keeps being like, no, you don't.
I don't even know grief. I mean, I'm still trying to um I don't know if we ever really figure it out because it's not linear.
No, it's not.
It's like a ball of just mess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even for people that are a step 1, step 2, step 3, like I really thought like, that maybe that's how it would be. And I'm like, oh, whoa, I'm feeling this way today, but I was just feeling like that
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. It seemed
Mm-hmm.
like I was feeling okay. You're really not actually okay.
No, you're
It's
not.
numbness.
Yes.
That's really what it is.
Which, there are certain days when that has to be the case. We're both boss babes.
And it's like it almost is like it's like
Yeah.
pushing you through the day because we know we have to get things done.
Grief waits for you.
Hmm.
I heard that recently. I thought that was really beautiful, where it's like, I'm sure this is true of many emotions and many things in our life, many traumas,
Hmm.
but grief is the one thing that it will find you.
Yeah.
It'll find you
Yeah.
at some point in time, probably late at night when you're in bed
Yeah.
and you start just bawling, or like you randomly meet someone with the same name as your dad or who looks like your dad,
Oh,
and then you're just like, it's so real. And I don't, like, I'm 29. I lost my dad really young. How old were you when you lost your dad?
so I was also, well, I'm 30, so I'll be 33 this year. So he died in October of 2022. So was I 29?
Oh my
I
God.
think I was 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a really pivotal year in general.
It
29.
is before you go into your 30s and hit a whole different
Mm-hmm.
dynamic part of yourself.
Totally.
Because 30s is just, it's very different.
And I think losing like you lost your dad in October, I lost mine in November. There's something about losing your father at the end of the year, right around the holidays,
It's hard.
right? And for me, it- I got it hits me so hard randomly, but it especially hit me on New Year's Day
Hmm.
when my mom was like, "Happy 2026." And I was like, my dad will never see 2026. And logically, I knew that, but then I felt it.
Hmm.
And that was just rough.
Hmm.
There was a beautiful challenge that you gave me. I did my homework.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to share it with the audience. If you have a loved one who you lost, it's beautiful and makes you think. And I think none of us know how long we have here, but you said that you knew how long, like how many days your dad was with you, how many days you guys shared.
Hmm.
So from my birthday, April 3rd, 1996, until November 10th, 2025, I had 10,814 days with my father.
Mm.
In theory, right? Like, did I spend every single day with my dad? No, I didn't. But in theory, that's how many days
Yeah.
he was here. Do you remember off the cuff?
Mine was 10,667, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, you have it a little less than I did.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, isn't it? Like, I just, I don't really know how to be in a world without my father. And I think you and I struggle with something similar, which is part of the reason that I wanted to really start the beginning of this episode going into you and what a strong woman you are and all the amazing things that you're doing and that you've got going on in your life. No one would look at you from the outside in and realize that you're dealing with so much.
Yeah.
And not only that, because majority of the time you're probably also very good at masking
Hmm.
and being strong,
Hmm.
that aren't grief literate, right?
Yeah.
And they say and do things because they're like, well, she's fine. She's moved on. She's had that grieving time. So I'd love to use this as an opportunity to educate and to discuss some of the unfortunately harmful interactions that you've experienced.
Um, so I'll start by saying, and this is actually like the actually, no, this is the second time I will be publicly saying this. Because the first time I was I was invited to speak to a group of girls and I had them doing vision boards and we talked about self-care and why that's important in mental health and I touched on, losing my dad and my story. So, I didn't know that they had this like big dinner. It was a dance group and they had this big like gala that they did and there was a father-daughter dance and I had no clue that I actually had to get up in front of over 100 people and basically tell them what my class with them was about and what I talked about. And so here I am frozen saying it out loud and people looking at me like a deer in headlights.
Mm.
And three people out of that whole room came up and said, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
And what that is I lost my dad to suicide. Um, and I said it. And I felt this big because here I am in a room full of people and it's like I'm bearing my heart just out. It's like it's just laid out on the ground, and only
Mhm.
just a few people came over to me and said, I am so sorry, or I relate, or I have that experience. And it was really eye opening to me. And it was like a slap in the face. We did not, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I'm just going to speak the truth because isn't this what this is about?
100%.
I did not receive the type of love, care, and concern and compassion from people that I thought would happen when you lose somebody so dear to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because of the way he passed, because it is a suicide loss. Um, but it seems that way. And that's hurtful because at the end of the day, I am a person. I am his daughter. That was my dad. And obviously, he was suffering in silence inside. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're, in and out of institutions. That wasn't his story. But I've met people that have that story. But at the same time, they're a person that has feelings. And clearly, if they've gotten to a point where it's like they don't see the light at the other end of the tunnel. They don't feel that hope, that we have when we're setting goals and stuff. Um, so I just I didn't get that. I didn't get that
That
warm.
warmth. Yeah.
No.
Especially considering who your father was and his impact on the community.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd love for you to talk a little bit more on who he was.
so if you knew my dad, you call him Coach, Coach with a K. My dad, he loved his family. My parents were not married when he passed, but he loved us, and I'm such a daddy's girl. I mean, my dad would. I remember I would get flat tires, or I would like run out of gas, just being careless or whatever. When I started driving at first, and if he said he's on the way, he's on the way.
Oof, yeah.
You stay there and I will be there. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's so funny because my dad had a flip phone. And so before and he was an Android guy. So, which drove me nuts because I have an iPhone and sometimes I will like heart his messages and it will say, "You have hearted this." I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
But before he really had like a smartphone, I don't know how he would find me. He
It's a
didn't.
dad thing.
Yeah, like he was an old school map type of guy. Like
Absolutely.
he was like, okay, tell me where you are and tell me what's by there. But I say that to say he was a person of his word. If he said he was going to do it, he's going to do it. If he said he's on the way, he's showing up. He would give the shirt off his back, and he was someone that he would give you his last, even if you didn't know it. And I miss that. I have never met someone like that ever. Um, but I think that I just miss him. I wish it's like even sitting here today and being in this building that like my mom and I have, and like you said, how your dad, he'll never see 2026. That's how I feel. He'll never see this. I mean, I think I was telling you yesterday, I could see his facial expression. I could hear his voice. He had such a strong, deep voice. Mr. Keith's voice. You can hear it from like a mile
Mm.
away. And I just know that if he were to have walked through the store and see this place, he would be in awe. And I miss having the support from my dad. I miss,
It's like a hug, a warm hug,
yeah,
that kind of energy.
I miss his prayers. He would
Mm.
pray for me.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I got emotional just there thinking about that. It's
Yeah,
like having a father pray over you and care about you so much, like spiritually, but your physical safety and your emotional
yeah.
safety, and like, oh my God, to all the daughters out there who haven't experienced that, I'm so sorry. And I'm so heartbroken myself, and I'm so heartbroken for you, but I'm so glad that we both got to experience such wonderful
Yeah,
men.
I am too. And I think, when it comes to my dad, I think something that really hurts me is let me say this, because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about suicide, and
Absolutely.
suicide does not care where you're from, what you
Mm-mm.
look like, your social status, money, what you've achieved. That does not matter. Like I said before, we are people, we're human, and we have feelings. And sometimes, sometimes people just get to a point where they just can't take it anymore.
100%.
And I have to say, it would be selfish of me to say I want my dad back. I would want my dad back healed from the inside out.
Mm,
Whatever it was that was eating him up, that was depressing him or whatever, I would want to see him like that. And it's crazy because I didn't have an experience where, I would see him on medication or like inpatient, because that's actually what he did. He was a psych tech. He worked on the psych ward and he
mm,
was with the Rangers division. He was a
wow.
community driven person. Like I say, he was very helpful. So he always was smiling and laughing and happy. And so you would never even know whatever he
Mm.
was dealing with. And I say that to say the people that are out there that think, oh, they're so strong, they're fine. No, absolutely
They're
not.
not.
They're not.
They're not.
Mm-mm.
And that's true of everyone. It reminds me of Robin Williams
Yeah.
because he also took his life.
Mhm.
And what a beautiful soul. What a loss for
I love
us.
watching him.
Oh my God. Like every character that he did, you could just feel how beautiful his heart and his soul was. And just because he took his life doesn't mean that that he was any less of a man.
Exactly.
Like the legacy that he left behind,
Yeah.
the gaping hole that his presence left behind. And I think your dad and Robin Williams are an example of the people who are the most giving and the happiest and the strongest are the people who do not get checked in on.
Mhm.
And not only that, are probably carrying so much more weight. Because especially now with you sharing about not only was your dad a community man, but in dealing with like the psych ward, the things that he must have seen,
Mhm.
the secrets of others and their burdens and their traumas that he must have internalized
Yeah.
among his own stuff that he had going on,
Yeah.
to think that that dark place that he was in, I think to me just reflects how deep and how beautiful his soul and his heart was
Yeah.
that he felt so lost because only those who can truly care that deeply could get to that space.
Yeah.
If you're shallow, you're not going to be so affected. You know what I
No,
mean?
exactly. And I think too, I must say, just because he took his life doesn't mean that he loved God any less either. And that
100%.
is that is something that I hear people say, "Oh, you're going to hell," and all these other
Mm-hmm.
crazy things, and I'm like, that is not true. I truly believe that in his last breath, I think it was just him and God. I don't think that, I know that to be true. I believe that if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have a relationship with God.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't for him, then half the things that I've been able to do and just half of the person that I am today, it's because of my dad.
100%.
I think that like I just think that, we'll never know. We'll never know the answers. And that's something that I um battle with every day, is that I'll never know the why. I'll never have any answers. And to live that way, I mean, it is like there's a level of emptiness that I literally feel every day. And people don't see that, because I have this image online. Um, those that are very close to me don't even really get a chance to see that because I don't allow that,
It's
I don't allow
hard.
people to see that.
Well, in the wrong hands, even if they love you, if they're not ready to receive you in that moment, I personally have found it can be lonelier to share if it's
Yeah.
not shared in a space where they can really handle you.
Yeah, because I've even told I remember telling an ex-friend, and she goes, "Okay, what do you want to drink?" Yeah, that's what I said. We were at a pool, and I don't remember how the conversation came about, but the day was kind of winding down and was just kind of like me and her, and we were having like this deep discussion. And I was like, I thought that we were at a point in our friendship where I want her to know because this is something that's special, for me that I hold close. And I thought that I could share that because I thought we were, you know, becoming really good friends. And when I told her, and her response was, "Okay, what do you want to drink?"
Mm,
I was shocked. And it was like just, I closed off and I really
absolutely.
shut down. And I think that's why for the longest time, it's like I've been holding on to like this secret almost. And I'm like, I've gotten to the point I was telling you, like, I'm not holding on to this anymore. I'm not holding, it's not a secret. I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. That is my dad. I
Yeah,
am his daughter.
yeah.
And I'm not going to allow that moment of how he died,
Mm-hmm.
that does not define him.
Or
That
you.
doesn't define me, it doesn't define him, and it actually doesn't define anybody. And I just wish that people would be more compassionate and just less judgmental. Stop walking around like you think you know every freaking thing and
Mm-hmm.
it works this way and da 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 da. That's
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
it's not true.
absolutely.
I've always been a compassionate person, but losing my dad, especially losing my dad this way, it
Yes.
has just like amplified the compassion that's within me and my level of like care and concern for other people.
Yeah.
It's everything has just been like 10 times greater than like what it was before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to learn, what do I do with this?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. I share with you that I take care of a little girl
Yeah.
because I was like, my dad was such a helpful and just giving person. What can I do that in a way is like honoring him? Like
Mm-hmm.
if I were to tell him this, I think he would be so proud. And
Mm-hmm.
so I take care of a little girl. She's blind, she's deaf, and she has epilepsy. She's 10.
I didn't know shit. Oh, wow. Sierra.
Yeah. And I stay with her overnight when I care for her. And I treat her if I had like a little sister.
Yeah.
And I just love her. And that's like one of the things that I do to try to
Give
pour into
back.
other people, because one thing I have learned is when you're dealing with grief, something that I learned early on is to pour in. You have to put it
Mm.
somewhere.
Thank you.
You have to. And that's part of where I put that.
Right, because we were talking yesterday about how grief is when you have love with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And especially when for me, my dad wasn't taken suddenly. It was over the course of 6 years with him
Hmm.
being diagnosed with dementia when I was 23.
Mm.
And watching him, knowing that that diagnosis was a death sentence, but not knowing when that death sentence would hit, put me in a state of always on edge, always in survival mode, always just wanting to put him in a glass bubble,
Mm.
and watching him decline more and more. There were so many moments with my dad where the first time he had a seizure, he had it in my arms. And there was a time when something erupted in it somewhere. I don't know a lot about watch Grey's Anatomy, but I don't know a lot about medical stuff. But something went awry inside and he starts coughing up blood and I'm the one who's like cleaning it up and taking care of him and like it's part of the reason why I stayed living at home all these years and like I never really dated much and I just was like my world was being like torn apart and I was always so afraid he would forget me. And one of the biggest gifts was that he never forgot me. And he used to just call me up and say, I love you. I love you so much. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. I love you. I love you. Like all the time. And like, I considered recording it, but I think that would have just broken me to keep hearing that. When I told him that I left my corporate job to become a barista, you would have thought that I told him I became a VP. He was just like telling all the nurses in the hospital, my daughter's a barista. He was so proud. He's like, well, I guess I'll have to start liking coffee now because he loves Diet Coke. Um, just a funny story. When he had dementia, he used to be one of the last, my family struggled with money. And one of the last jobs that my dad had was he was an Uber driver because my dad had no ego when it came to supporting his family. He did what he had to do to have a roof over our head and food on the table. And I'm forever grateful for him for showing me what it means to be a man and how to love a wife and how to love me because that has set the bar so high.
Mhm.
And um, also for my mom for sticking with him through thick and thin, truly through sickness and in health, through richer, through
Beautiful.
poorer. Like they were it. And does that mean their marriage was perfect? No one's marriage is perfect, but they loved each other and they worked on it and they stuck to it. And that was such a gift to give to me to
Mhm.
have. But with my dad, when he got dementia, the hardest thing was taking away his car and selling his car. He just cried as he watched them tow it away.
Oh.
And he used to go on walks around the neighborhood. They called him the gem of the neighborhood. He would have his little walker, and sometimes I'd be walking and he'd walk by me and he'd be like, "You want to ride?"
That's sweet.
And I got a call. I was working my corporate job, and my mom's like, she's a teacher, first grade teacher.
Mm.
She was like, I gotta go. I mean, you gotta go. You gotta go pick up your dad. He is at the bank. I can't explain why. Just go pick him up. He needs a ride home. I'm like, I'm at work, but okay, I guess I'll go leave to pick my dad up from the bank. I get to the bank, found out he's sitting there just schmoozing with the manager. Apparently, he went in and he said to the bank manager, uh, I need a car and I need you to give me the money to get a car so that I can support my family.
Oh my gosh.
And so then they realized that he had dementia at a certain point. So they like, called this up and asked my dad, I'm like, I heard you try to buy a car. And he was like, I'm lying. He's like, what took you so long? I need a ride home. I'm like, are you really have dementia or did you just want to ride home? Oh my God. So many like silly stories that like just finding the joy in those hard moments too.
Yeah.
But I do not take for granted the fact that I got to say goodbye to my father because I know that's not something that you had the opportunity to have. And even if people do have parents who die of natural causes, you don't always get to be there.
No.
And it's a gift. I got to hold his hand. I got to sing to him. I got to apologize for not visiting him more, for not having more qualitative visits. And I got to watch him take his last breath. They call it the death battle.
Mm.
I will never forget it. I've never been in a room before with someone who had died. I'll never forget the moment my dad's soul left and I saw it and it just shattered me. And being in the room with his body afterwards was just so crazy. I'm grateful for it, but it is still traumatizing, as you said yesterday. I don't think no matter how you lose someone, there's ever a way that's not going to completely just shatter your heart.
Yeah.
Um, but I do want to touch on some things. One thing that I hope gives you comfort. I don't know if it will,
Mhm.
but talking on the fact that you didn't feel like you got the support that you needed during Shiva, something that a lot of people who came and said to me is that we know people are here right now, right away when it's fresh. but we just want you to prepare yourself that while this is fresh and everyone's feeling sorry for you, unless they get it, like they've gone through something like this,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to disappear back into their own lives.
Yes.
Very few people will check in on you.
Mm-hmm.
After a month, don't expect much.
Yeah.
And they set me up for that expectation, so I think I was more prepared for it. But if
Yeah.
it makes you feel better, that's not because of how he died. I think that's just human nature,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, where it's like when you first hear it and you're like shocked, what can I do? How can I be there for you? And then it's like at a certain point, it's so hard for us to come to terms with because it's like, how, what do you mean your life is going on when my life has just
Yeah.
stopped?
Yeah.
But it does for many people, and they get caught up in CARPL and PTA and their jobs and their families and their little dramas every day,
Mm-hmm.
and life goes on, and it's heartbreaking, but it is reality.
I think it's a little of both, to
Yeah,
be honest. I think it's a bit of because it is a suicide death, and I think it's still such a taboo, if you will.
yeah,
And it's something that is very hush hush, especially um Black people will tell you Black people don't kill themselves. I've heard people say that.
really.
I truly have. I've heard when it
Well,
comes
that can't be
to
true.
I'm just telling you what I've heard. I know, and it
Wow.
sounds ridiculous, but it's the truth. Like I have spoken with and again, I'm so thankful to my SOS group, which is Survivors of Suicide. It's every first and third Wednesday of the month over at Provident Behavioral Health from 6 to 7:30. If you have a suicide loss, you are welcome to come because it is a closed group. You have to have been directly affected by that in order to join our group. But during the National Suicide Awareness Day, which was actually just a few days before my dad's birthday, November 24th, um, I remember meeting some other ladies, some other Black women, and I was so glad to because I'm seeing other people that look like me that understand like where I'm coming from when we speak about like in the Black community, it is not something that's talked about. And
Mm.
then you slap church on top of that. And some people have the idea you pray it away. I believe in prayer. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God, absolutely. I also believe that there are people here on earth that God has blessed to be able to help us. And that is not something that is talked about. And these two ladies that I met, they are actually on their way to creating a suicide loss group specifically for Black churches to go
Wow.
in and to talk to them and educate them about. I also have to shout out Pastor Mackenzie. He has been a very instrumental person in my life after losing my dad. He's the pastor over at Berean SDA, Seventh day Adventist Church. That's where I go to. Right away, he was like, Sis, call me when he found out about my dad. And I think it helped because he actually knew my dad on a personal level as
Mm.
well. And Pastor Mackenzie is like the most non judgmental person I have like had the pleasure of meeting.
Wow.
And he has been such a rock for me during this time. Um, there have been times where I can't even get the words out during our FaceTime, or not our FaceTime call, but our Zoom call, and he'll just sit with me, or he'll help, like, he'll start off the conversation in prayer.
Wow.
And every time I see him, Sis, you doing okay? I'm here. We got to talk. We got to talk. And I appreciate him so much because at one point I was done. I was literally just like, you know what? What is this for? Why is this even worth it? And I also got to the point where I was done with God. I had stepped back from church and praying and religion and faith
Mm.
and all that stuff. I was like, my dad died. and he died from suicide. There's no God. I remember saying that. And Pastor Mackenzie slowly but surely got my feet back into church. And he helped get me back into prayer. And I remember telling him, like, I miss I miss that like fire for God feeling that like I
Mm,
once had prior to my dad dying.
yeah,
Because prior to him, I don't remember that person.
yeah,
It's like everything just left.
yeah,
And I miss that like being on fire for God. But Pastor Mackenzie, he really, I'm so thankful for him. There are people that I'm just super thankful for because again, I don't know if I would be in a position to even sit here and talk to you about all this. I don't even know if I would be sitting here today
yes.
because I don't know where my life would have ended up because I was in such a dark place and it comes and goes.
Yeah, of course.
There's
Yeah,
waves of it. There's details, I mean, that I can't get out of my head. There's the
yeah,
trauma of it
yeah.
all and just the numbness that comes from it that can just it brings me to my knees. Um and going back to being that strong one, I don't want to be strong anymore.
No, me
I'm
neither.
tired. I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I'm tired of being the strong one. I'm tired of I want a goal for myself moving forward. I want to be the type of person I want someone to be for me.
mm,
I do. No matter what area it is in life, whether it's grief, especially grief, I want to be there for somebody the way I someone wasn't for me.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And you know, there's even going through grief for myself, there were certain things, like I told you, even day of, where it's like, or before when people first found out, they were like, I wish I knew what to say. I used to say that to people
Hmm.
because you don't know what to say, and you're kind of like textbook conversations that you say to someone who's been through loss without truly understanding. And in that moment when I lost my dad, the first time someone said to me, I wish I knew the right words to say, I remember wanting to slap them across the face
Yeah.
because I'm like, my heart has been ripped out of my chest. I'm in so much pain right now. And now you need me to comfort you for not knowing what to say.
Hmm.
But I'm an Aries. So like I'm not gonna keep that all hush hush and inside.
Yeah.
So that was that post that you ended up reposting
Yes.
where I was like, a lot of you are grief illiterate. Here's a PSA. Now, again, every person who's going through grief and mourning is going to have little nuances. Some people don't want any attention. They don't want to be hugged. They want space. I did not want space. In fact, there was a few people who did not show up for me during the funeral, during the Shiva week, and even after they didn't reach out to me. Still haven't actually come to think of it, not bitter, hashtag. But
Wow.
yeah, they knew because I texted them. I was texting them while I was in the hospital. Yeah, whatever.
Oof.
Grief has a way of filtering out who is your tribe.
That part.
And, I think it's a gift in that sense because, like, at first you're all like, yeah, these are my friends. We're fun. We've got a vibe. This is my tribe. But, like, when you really find out who your people are, when shit hits the fan, pardon my French, and it's just you see who shows up and how they show up. And they don't have to show up perfectly. I think this would be maybe a good PSA for people, whether it's checking in on someone with grief, whether you're someone with grief and you need people to hear you.
Hmm.
One of the scariest things is, do they have time? Do they have the capacity to hear me right now? So, communication is a beautiful thing. If you are feeling in a space that you really need to talk to someone, don't be afraid to look at that person, call them, text them, and say, hey, I am not okay right now.
Yeah.
And I really need someone Do you have the time and the capacity for me right now?
Mm.
Because I need you.
Yeah.
But it's important to ask those two things as well. Because, like, let's say, for example, you're calling a friend and they're having like the best day ever, and you're bawling on your bathroom floor. Not to say that they shouldn't be there for you, but it's like you need to check with their headspace.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you're talking to someone, it's like another beautiful thing, like your pastor, Mackenzie, what he was able to sit with you when you just needed him to sit with you,
Yeah.
rare, rare. You found a beautiful soul, and clearly he's doing
He's
exactly what he
awesome.
should be doing.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people want to give you advice. And this is something that I need to work on for myself because I am an advice giver. And I need to learn when people come to me where I need to ask them, do you want me to listen or do you want me to give you advice?
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10 times,
Just want you to listen.
I just want you to
They
listen.
do. And I think, and I had to realize I didn't know what I needed from people. I mean, I would get so irritated when someone would say, just let me know if you need me.
Oh,
No,
I hate
I
that.
hate that
I
too.
hate that. Let me know if you need anything. I don't
I
know,
need a
my
lot.
dad. Like,
Exactly. And I think and now like I've had some friends unfortunately that have also experienced like a great loss or just anything in life if they're just not that just wasn't their best day. Instead of saying, "Let me know if you need anything," because here's the reality. We're not going to actually let you know anything. We're
Ooh,
not going to. But guess what? You have my address. You have my number. You can cash app, here's lunch. What's your address?
gas money,
Gas money, here's DoorDash. What like send groceries,
coffee orders.
coffee orders. Hey girl,
Hmm.
let's just go grab lunch, something. So I just want to let people know stop
Hmm.
saying that because we're not going to tell you what it
100%.
is that we actually don't need you. Like
Hmm.
let's really break that statement down. Let me know if you need me. How about you just show up for me?
Hmm.
Can we do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
And like you said, Cash App, gas money, food, these are all things that we don't necessarily need, but like at some point in time we'll use. Like
yeah.
someone gave me a gas gift card at QT,
Mm,
and I didn't use it for like 2 months. But
mhm.
it was like probably one of the most thoughtful. You know what? I'm gonna shout him out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dre.
I
Appreciate
mean,
you.
think about it. It's
Yeah.
like I think about
And plants and flowers are nice too, but they don't replace your presence because someone didn't show up in person and they sent a plant. So I would love for you to expand upon how people weren't there for you.
um well, I have to be honest. Again, my dad's side of the family, um, aside from my Aunt Della, um, and maybe one of my dad's first cousins, the rest of them, you out there?
His side of the family?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it gets a little deeper, like just the dynamic with him and his family and how they've treated him and which I try not to be bitter about, which is hard because we were talking about this yesterday. Don't get me wrong, we love our moms. I am like you say something, I'm coming for you. I'm just FYI. You ever disrespect my mother? That's a whole different side of Sierra. But
Hmm.
my dad, yeah, like I am so protective of him and just I just refuse any type of disrespect and the lack of what it seems to be care and concern to even reach out to me, I think is mind blowing. Even some of the people from the church, not the church that I just mentioned, not Berean, but there's another one that I grew up in that my dad remained at. And yeah, the lack of compassion, the gossip. You know, when someone takes their own life, there's so much of this that
Mhm.
happens. There's so much like it almost is like it becomes let me just say this. It's like if someone were murdered. It's like this wild goose chase or hunt to try to figure out who, when, where, why. Did they know the person? Is there any type of connection? So I saw the same thing when it came down to my dad taking his own life, dying by suicide. It was like it was like, this is not a reality show. This is not a game. This is someone's life.
Wow.
And the type of things that I heard happening in the background, all the stuff that's being said, you know, behind his back, the people that have been to our home, we've been to their home. I've grown up in church with you, and you can't even look me in my eye and say sorry. Or going back to people kind of like, let me know if you need me, or here's so and so's number. You should give her a call. Why the heck am I calling them? They should be calling me.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? That's
Yep.
insane.
Yep.
Not even acknowledging me at all,
Mm.
because it goes back to kind of like what you said. Why am I consoling you? Because you're uncomfortable talking about it. I don't care,
Mm.
black, white, Asian, Mexican, whatever. Suicide exists. It is a real thing. And there are people dying every second, actually, by suicide. And let me also say this, they're not committing suicide. They
Thank you.
are
Yes.
dying by suicide. They
Yeah.
have killed themselves or they have taken their own life.
Yeah.
To commit, what does commit mean? You're doing something purposely? You did not do that on purpose. You don't commit cancer. You don't commit a disease. You don't commit an illness. Not at all. They did not ask for that. Whatever it
Right. It's a
is,
mental health.
it's mental health. And the truth is, we all actually have something that's called mental health. And it's
100%.
important that we seek the help that we need. There are cases a little bit more severe than others that it may require medication. And guess what? There are people who are unfortunately taking their lives due to medication, and maybe it was the
Mm.
wrong dosage.
Mm.
I mean, the fact that a commercial will come on. Oh, if you're dealing with depression, anxiety, take this. Oh, but just wait a minute. If you're dealing with suicidal thoughts, really? That's a reaction? And you want me to take this to try to regulate my depression and anxiety? That's crazy. So I know I kind of got a little off track, but shout out to Gloria because which is my group leader, the SOS group leader. I mean, she has gotten me like so on fire about this. And looking back, it was like I knew about suicide. I didn't know about it how I know now because it had never like I had
Experienced.
never experienced it and
Yeah.
it never actually affected me directly. But now that it has, it kind of brings me to again, what am I going to do with this? And I think that I'm now at a place in life where I can talk about it. Saying it for the first time as we were sitting here, talk about anxiety and like my nerves. And now I'm like, I can just say it. I said it because it shouldn't have to be this shameful thing.
No.
It really was back then, which is why we don't like using the word commit, especially for me. It's like a trigger for me.
Yeah.
Um, it was really something that was like criminalized. I mean, it was like really wrongfully looked upon. I'm not and by no means, I am not encouraging. I am not saying it's okay. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it was like it was like people were stoned. I'm like, they're already gone.
It's more about like the empathy about that soul and the people around that soul, their family, their friends, their loved ones,
Yeah.
where it's like, I really loved how you articulated, how you explained all of that, because I relate to grief and loss, but I'm new to understanding the world of suicide
Hmm.
from that depth. and that perspective. And it's one of those things where it's like you imagine it, but until you experience it, you
Until you
can't.
experience it.
And hopefully you never will, right?
I wouldn't
But
wish that on someone I couldn't stand.
no.
I would not, because it is a battle. It is a daily battle that you're never going to conquer. You
Yeah.
just won't, because there's so many questions, the domino effect, and there's just so many levels to it. And you mentioned that, you were able to be with your dad during his last moments. I so wish I had that.
Yeah.
I crave that. The closest thing I get now is when I see him in my dreams.
Mhm.
But I wish, and I just remember like telling the police officers, I want to see my dad. Let me see my dad.
Just
Like,
have that closure.
I needed it and I didn't get it.
Mm.
It was like things happen. It's like a flash. Like if you're in that haunted house and you go into like the room that's completely pitch black and it's like that white light
Mhm.
flashing,
Mhm.
that's what it's like. And to deal with that every single day and to never have any closure, it's crippling. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
And I know that, unfortunately, I hate this. I really wish that just suicide wasn't a thing. I just wish death wasn't a thing in general.
Yeah.
But, for anyone out there that is struggling with suicidal thoughts, depression, just hopelessness, feeling like you don't have a way out, please pick up the phone and dial 988. That is a suicide helpline, and there will be someone there to talk to you.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, first of all, for trusting me and trusting my audience with your story, your dad's story, your pain, your grief. I know this was not easy,
Mm-mm.
but I am so personally impacted and inspired and honored that you shared your story. I think you are an incredible person. I think your dad sounded like an incredible person. I am so sorry that I didn't get to meet him
Mm.
because he sounded awesome.
And yours too.
I know. They probably would have loved each other.
Yeah.
Let's be real, they would have been besties. Um, but I know that whoever watches this, whether they have a similar situation or not, this was an incredibly impactful episode,
Thank you.
truly. Before we wrap up the grief aspect, there was a question that I wanted to ask you. I didn't want to touch on it yesterday because I wanted our reactions and experiences to be real and
Mhm.
raw and authentic in the moment. Like,
Yeah.
not that any of this we prepped at all.
We really didn't.
Like, none of it. Like,
No.
we had some kind of like, for the audience, in case you're curious, I don't script, I don't question. This is all raging ADD and insatiable curiosity about my guests.
Mhm.
I just love people. I love their stories. As a host, I'm always trying to work on being a listener because sometimes I get so excited that I talk too much.
Yeah. That's okay.
And so I'm trying to learn to like let my guests be in their full glory because as you can see, like there's so much. And I know we've literally just brushed the surface of you and all that there is to you, but this was still like awesome. So when I was sitting Shiva, a positive experience that I had was this Rabbi David, shout out to you if you're listening, probably not, but if you are, he said to me, tell me some qualities about your father that were really wonderful that you feel that you embody and that you're going to live on as his legacy.
Mm.
So I'd love to throw the question to you first, and then I will answer it after.
Oh, some qualities. Wow, there's a lot. So my softness and my I would call him like, well, people would call him the gentle giant because he
Mm,
was tall, big guy, but yet so soft and just such a teddy bear on the inside.
yeah.
I'm like that. Even though what you see here is very like very, tell it like it is. I'm very strong, put together. I still have like that sweet spot on the
Totally.
inside. Um, and I think I mentioned earlier just like how giving my dad is, or was. Oh,
I still do that too. I also talk in
mm,
present tense about my dad. It's very
man.
confusing.
Okay, like doing that just now, it like kind of knocked the wind out of
It's a
me for a
lot.
second.
Yeah.
How giving he was, I am the same way. I mean, I know that I'm a very helpful person, and that's like one of the qualities about myself. Like I just love, and I will do whatever I can to try to help you. My dad was a very supportive person, and again, I see that within myself. I think one of the best qualities is watching how on fire he was for God.
Mm.
So watching how on fire my dad was for God and his relationship with God, and when he would get on his drums, he would just transform. It was like
Mm.
you could feel the Holy Spirit in the atmosphere. The gospel music is playing. He's on the drums. He didn't care what he sounded like, but he has a trophy that says the number one drummer, best drummer in the world. And I truly believe that because he played for God. That was like it was like his love song to God, if you will, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
showing God how much I love you. And that is something that that's probably like my biggest takeaway. I grew up on gospel, but that doesn't mean that I have to continue listening to it. If you get in my car, actually on the way here, I had it on gospel, and I love gospel music. That
It's
is
really
like
nice.
that is, and that's something that a lot of people don't know about me. Because people think that they know what my music choice would be, and I'm like, you have no clue. I'm a Simply
Mm.
Red type of girl. Put in some Yolanda Adams. Like, I love gospel music, and I'm so glad that I saw that from such a young age growing up, and I'm able to carry that into my adulthood and just my daily practice in life because it's not that I didn't see that with my mom, not to take away that from her, but there was just something about my dad and just seeing him and the way he would pray. We used to joke because when people would come to our house, you had to go around the room. Everyone would stand around the kitchen. So there would be people in the kitchen, in the living room, in the dining room, and we're all locked in holding hands. And everyone would go around and say like what we're thankful for, and then my dad would pray. And we'd be like, "Are you praying for the whole nation? Like, when is this prayer going to end?" But that was just because he just loved God so much. And he
Mm.
didn't care. It's like if you met him one time, it was like you knew him for like the longest
What
time.
a gift.
And I feel like people say that to me, and I feel like I get that quality from my dad.
Mm.
I mean, I can meet people and
It's true. I felt that when we first connected.
yeah,
It was like this deep connection, and I was like, is it weird to say that after one time that I feel like we're friends? Like
yes,
it was weird, but
yes.
it was really beautiful.
And people, I will say really quickly, of course, there were people that didn't show up, but then there were people that did that I didn't even
Mm.
know. And there were people that would come to
Glad.
me
Yeah.
that would say that I met your dad one time and this is how impactful he was. And so I say that to say, I want to leave that type of mark. How
Mhm.
my dad left that type of impact on people,
Yeah.
just even meeting them from one time. I hope that people say the same about me.
I mean, I
So,
say it about you, so it's one person already. So there
yes,
you go, you know?
yes,
That's
yeah,
beautiful. There's no doubt in my mind that our dads would have been friends
absolutely.
because one of the qualities my dad had that I was so embarrassed about as a kid, and it's so funny, like all the qualities that I now respect so much as an adult, and I wouldn't say they come naturally to me, but it's something that I've worked on
Hmm.
and curated to become because I see how amazing these qualities are, were in my dad. And I thought they were so embarrassing as a kid because when you're a kid, you're embarrassed by
Yeah.
everything, you know, like so good. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, your dad's the best. And I'm like, is he? Just being real.
Yeah.
But like one quality that my dad had that I thought was so beautiful was that he didn't know a stranger. Very similar to your dad.
Yeah.
We'd be in the grocery store and he didn't just, even if it started with a small chit chat,
Girl.
the next thing I
Girl,
tell you,
I
they
already
would
know
have
what
been
you're
friends. They would have been friends. First of all, they would have met at a grocery store and been friends. And I'm just like, do you know these people? Like, I
Right?
was always like, are you bothering them? Like, but they always seem to love it. Like,
Yeah.
he saw people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he like, I think there was so much loneliness that my dad experienced too. And also, like, my dad converted to Judaism. And while the community embraced him, there is still, I think, a certain loneliness that you have when you're a convert because you always, to a certain extent, feel like an outsider.
Hmm.
Even though we try our best to embrace everyone who comes into it, sometimes people have better experiences than others, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Some people are great, some people are not so great. We all know this.
Mhm.
But I think my dad, because he knew how it felt to be an outsider, he would always find people who felt like outsiders and he would make them feel seen and make them feel special.
I love that.
And this was such a great episode.
Listen, if this doesn't go viral, y'all are crazy.
Y'all are crazy.
Crazy.
Even just for us,
Yeah,
I'm
this was good.
so glad that
It was
we
awesome.
got this opportunity. I'm so glad that we recorded it
Yes.
because this is my thing. Like, I have these conversations to a certain degree. I don't know if I've ever had such a beautiful conversation with anyone, to be honest.
Oh,
Truly. And this is by far one of my favorite episodes for sure.
thank you. Thank you.
So even just for ourselves to have this documented, because I
Yeah.
know we are doing a part two. It might be hard to top this one.
Woo!
But I do know that like you are someone that I hope to have in my life for a very long time. And I know that
I
we're
will.
going to have many more conversations that are not going to be recorded, that are going
Yeah.
to be just, if not more meaningful.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much for your time.
First of all, thank you, and just thank you for your genuineness. You are authentic and just real, down to earth, very easy to talk to. I am someone that I don't open up very easily to people, especially when it comes to talking about my dad. So
Mm-hmm.
for me to be in this space with you, that's just a testament to who you are and me feeling safe and being able to talk about all these different things. So I appreciate you. I'm super excited for part two.
Yeah,
And I can't wait till it gets warmer out because then I feel like we can go do things.
for sure.
I do not like going places when it's cold. I am
I hear
in the
you.
house or I would like to go out of town.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I just say that to say I do believe that we were meant to enter each other's lives,
Mm-hmm.
and this podcast and just in general our conversation could not have come at a better time.
100%.
Um I was kind of mentioning to you during our talk away from the camera that I felt just a little stuck. And I feel like doing this is actually really helping me be unstuck.
Really?
It is because this time of the year, from like August, no, September until after the new year is very difficult for me. I mean, it's cold out, it's getting darker. Seasonal depression is a real thing.
It is.
My dad passed in October, and then, the weight of that, his birthday is the day before Thanksgiving. You got Thanksgiving,
Mm,
Christmas, trying to figure out what does life look like? Do I have new traditions? Do I just stop celebrating
yeah.
anything? And then the new year.
Yeah.
And then going into a new year, they're not here. And it's like the hamster wheel starts over again.
Yes.
Do I want to deal with that?
Yeah.
But this has helped me just kind of like figure out what I'm going to do with that grief because I don't want it to define me. I want to define it. And what I mean by that
Mhm.
is I believe that I believe God is calling me to a place to educate people on this subject, on suicide.
Yes, I agree.
Don't know why this has to be my journey, but it is. Don't know why my dad had to die that way, but he did. And so therefore, I have to do something with that.
Yeah. In Hebrew, we say sometimes there's like hidden ways within a word that you can learn things from. So there's same word for you say why, lama.
Hmm.
You change around the pronunciation symbols, the nikudos, and you say instead lama. Same letters, but pronounced differently, and it means for what. So
Mm.
instead of asking yourself, lama, why? Why am I going through all this? You say lama. For what purpose,
For what
right?
purpose?
For what purpose? And how can you be a legacy for your dad,
Yeah.
for his spirit, for what he is, because you are your dad,
Hmm.
right? Like you are a piece of him.
Hmm.
You are a living legacy. And it's like his time is still possible to live on through you. It doesn't have to be over just because he's not physically here. And the
Mm.
fact that he comes to you in dreams is just so
Yes.
apparent and such a blessing, by the way, that like he's so integrated into you, whatever that means, because none of us really know what it means to be in the next world. I'm just so happy that you still have a connection and that presence with your dad,
Yeah.
you know?
I hope I never lose. I don't ever want to
I
lose
hope you never
that.
lose it either.
I know it's so beautiful. If I can just share the most recent,
Yeah.
or actually, I would like to share the first dream that I had when I saw my dad, after he passed. So when we were cleaning out the house and, deciding what we're keeping and what we're, giving away, um, I felt in my heart that I wanted to keep things that I thought were monumental to him. So, like his ranger hat, I have that, like his ranger badge, his ID card when he worked at the hospital, his favorite jacket that he wore, tie, his like first set of drumsticks when he was like, what, in his early 20s, his whistle, because he coached basketball, stuff like that. I have this big chest and I have everything. It looks like a museum, if you will, just of his things.
It's beautiful.
And the dream that I had, the first dream that I had of my dad, after I put up everything, I walked into the church. And the church I grew up in has a very long hallway. And there are two sets of doors. There's a double door and there's one single door leading into the um why is my mind going blank? What do you call that?
In a church?
Yeah.
Girl, you're talking to the wrong girl.
Well, it's the
The
sanctuary. Okay,
sanctuary.
I'll
Okay.
say that again. In my church, there's a long hallway with two sets of doors. There's a double door and a single door leading to go into the sanctuary. So he was standing at the double door. And so when I walked through the main door to go into the hallway, I was like, oh, Dad. It's like, Dad, oh my God. I was like, you will not believe. I'm like, people have been saying the craziest things. They're saying you're not alive. They're saying that you're dead. I'm like, Daddy, you're standing right here. And then he was just like, just waving, just come here, not speaking. And that's one thing I will say. He doesn't ever speak. There's no talking in my dreams. It's always just movement, or I see
Like
him,
presence.
presence. So he's waving to me to come here. And he opens the door. When we walk into what I thought I was walking into a sanctuary, it literally transformed into just a room of all the things that I've kept of his. They were all there.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I felt like that was confirmation that I did the right thing
He approved.
and I kept all those things. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
I mean I remember when I woke up from that dream. I mean, I was bawling.
How could you not?
So I was like, wow. And
Yeah.
then the most recent one that I had a few days ago, um, so Ashley, the other esthetician that works with me here, um, we recently put up this thick wire and we hung up the curtains to kind of separate the aesthetic bays off from one another. And I had a dream previously to us doing that, and my dad was in the bay and he was just sitting there, but all the curtains had been up. And so it took her and I a few hours to get this done. And we kept trying to troubleshoot, like, oh my gosh, like the ceiling, we kept hitting something, or okay, the wire was too long. We had to figure out how to cut it without actually having any wire cutters. Like
Yeah.
it took a lot of critical thinking with for something that you think would be a simple, curtain just to put up. And we were like literally about to we were about to just say, you know what, forget it. Let's just maybe try a different way, or maybe I can reorder some things. And I'm thinking, no, we're almost done. I remember she goes, will this work? And they look like wire cutters, but they weren't, but they worked.
Right.
And we had looked all throughout this bag. It was one of my dad's old tool bags that I had. And I'm like, where did these come from? Because that was not, I thought I looked all throughout this bag. It's not that big. And I didn't see it. And so, long story short, we got the wire up, the curtains are all hung up. It looks beautiful now and everything's fine. But I feel like that dream was just another
Confirmation.
confirmation of, baby
Mhm.
girl, you got it.
Yeah.
All my little like DIY and painting and putting things up and fixing things, I got that from him.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was his way of like, I don't know, it's like, just like, you, girl, you're strong. You got this.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Even the smallest of tasks. And it was so like just reassuring and another way just to kind of help me get out of that like little rut that I've been in. And I think I was able to turn that around and say, Sierra, you got this.
Absolutely.
2026, just like you got those curtains up out there and you thought that you were stuck and there was no way, or you had to figure out a different way or just give up. It's like, you got it. You just gotta hold on just a little
It's gotta
bit
trust you.
longer. You gotta trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's all in you.
yeah, it's
And your
this
dad's in you too, and he
my
taught you
dad,
so much.
yeah, my dad is in me. Your dad is in you. The things that they have taught us, I'm super, super thankful for. And I'm
Yeah,
so thankful that we had our dads.
for
Because
sure.
it's a beautiful thing to have your dad.
It really is.
And I'm sorry to those that do not have their dad.
For sure. I think about this too, where it's like, we were both 29 when we lost our fathers, and we only got roughly a little over 10,000 days, or yeah, 10,000 sounds so little,
Hmm.
10,000 days with them. But look at the impacts. Look at the
Hmm.
women that they've raised,
Yeah.
and will continue the impact that we will leave as their legacy. And what a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
you know? I have this tradition at the end of every podcast episode. So the whole podcast is based on this Hebrew quote, which is "Eze chacham hamomim mikol adam," which means one who is wise is one who learns from everyone. And we have learned so much from you. So, so, so much. But if we can just capture your favorite life lesson or quote, what would it be?
Why not me?
Mm,
I think it's just as simple as that. Yeah.
I love it.
Why not me?
What can my audience do to support you? How can we find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram. You can find my main account, which is Miss Sierra J, Cearra J.
Mm-hmm.
And my business information it's in my main page. It's _ ageless spa. Um, I'm located in St. Peters, Missouri. My booking link is also in my page. As I approach the swim season, I do start looking for sponsorship. Sponsorships do help take care of travel and my hotel and different things like that, hair and makeup. Because I am freelance. I'm a freelance model, which means everything that I do, all the shows, it comes out of my own personal pocket. So I am going to start putting together my sponsorships very, very soon. You can donate as much or as little, whatever your heart desires. But if anyone out there feels, led to do so, you can just contact me personally and I'll tell them more about that, what that looks
Amazing.
like.
And we'll share that in the bio, how
Yeah.
people can contact and connect with you.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
I can't wait for part 2.
Me too.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, guys, this has been another fabulous episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And if you are currently only listening and would like to see the video, you can find it on Spotify or YouTube. Now, YouTube is where I'm trying to grow my accounts. So if you're not already subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Please go subscribe and please share this episode with a friend who you think this would have an impact on. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I hope you guys have a great week. Let's get it. Let's go.